One. Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, for far too long, investing in financial markets has largely been gatekept by the 1%, and access to a lot of these financial experiences and opportunities are exclusive to the rich politicians, investment bankers, and trader bros on the floor of Wall Street. But what we've seen as a trend and rise over the past 20 years is the rise of access given the dawn of the internet to what we saw post-pandemic, wherein we see a complete proliferation of access to financial content. Things like social media, things like the internet, communities we see in the real world or in online spaces like in Discord and Reddit that actually share and actually talk about investment strategies, tips, and best practices in order to take advantage of opportunities. We on side government believe that the democratization and decentralization of access to internet or to these particular opportunities is good, and it motivates our side of the house. However, we on side government aren't naive. We perfectly recognize that there are harms of things like misinformation and speculation perpetuated by nefarious and malevolent actors who do things like scam people, do pump and dumps, make people invest in bullshit cryptocurrency projects and NFTs that eventually end up going to zero. However, we tell you that the rise of these communities over time actually make people smarter. It allows people to know more and more what these things are and makes a lot of the harms that side opposition is probably going to push less likely to happen. We think that on both sides, a lot of these things are going to happen, but uniquely what you get from the rise are a couple of things. Number one, you get a rapid access to a lot of content that over time, because of things like how the internet works and the rise of AI, just get more efficient and better, getting them in real time. And what this does is that this on average improves the capacity of financial literacy at a younger and younger age that allows more people to take advantage of opportunity and invest in the markets younger, taking advantage of compounding and having more money ultimately when they know more about it at a younger age, something that you don't get from side opposition. Number two, you shorten the growth curve because we recognize that who investor is able to make money without having bullshit and bad decisions. Whether you're Charlie Munger, whether you're Warren Buffett, for sure losses are part of it, and even scams, ladies and gentlemen. At some point in your financial career, you're going to make poor decisions, but it's important that you make it while you're young and early on, as opposed to making it later in your life when a lot of these things just matter more. So, it's bad that crypto bros lose a lot in crypto, but it's good that they lose the money they get from stimmy checks at a young age, as opposed to doing it later on in life, wherein we think is more harmful absent the rise of these particular opportunities. Thirdly, we think that you no longer become beholden to formal education like schools and people who are rich and have groupthink and the capacities to be able to be stuck to these traditional institutions like banks, where you actually take responsibility in your own hands to be able to learn. Meaning, it isn't just a management guy, an econ guy, an accounting or finance guy who has access to investing. Heck, even the art student, someone who actually does pottery, someone who is in the humanities, now is able to learn these things and they don't become beholden to the society or beholden to these incumbent institutions like schools and banks to be able to do their job for them. Side opposition might say and argue, Joseph, but it's gonna be scammy. There's a lot of volatility, a lot of shitty decision making. We think that a lot of the pushes their side may tell us is probably going to be symmetric at best, but uniquely what you get from our side are the following. A clear comparative, meaning absent the rise of these communities and platforms, that shit's still going to happen and no one's gonna bat an eye or know about it. Simply put, ignorance is not bliss when you're talking about money. When you actually have these communities coming together to be able to dox shitty developers and people who are nefarious actors, you actually get discourse and the ability to understand what these things are and how they can avoid them. Because absent the rise, these things continue to happen, like what we saw in the 80s and 90s with all those people in the Middle East saying, hey, you're my long lost relative, here's an email, send me your bank account, I'm gonna give you a portion of Auntie May's inheritance. Absent the rise, those things continue to fucking happen and people don't know about it. B, it becomes a unique call-out mechanism to hold those people accountable. Meaning, we can actually say that there are some people in the WSB community or in online platforms who are actually scammy, and we can actually say, F these guys, don't trust them with their money, don't listen to their information, it is wrong. So, thought leadership and key opinion leaders actually evolve on our side when people are able to learn and grow. Because if side opposition says that, people say shitty things online, this random truck driver guy, he's talking about crypto. Yeah, but we're able to educate him when he's able to learn more about his mistakes and call out him when he does something wrong. That is to say, it becomes a learn mentality wherein people who are ignorant, people who are naive are able to learn faster, and those people who are more sophisticated, who have more privilege, knowledge, and capacity are able to learn them. Iron sharpens iron, ladies and gentlemen. One investor sharpens another the same way one debater does. C, this idea of volatility. We think that volatility on both sides are always going to be there, but the nuance is, how do we deal with volatility? What do we do? And we think financial investments and decisions just become more informed on our side. Why? Because you're able to vet it. Meaning, if you're talking to a crypto bro who also plays like fucking Valorant with you and he's cool, you're more open to understand those things as opposed to being intimidated by some banker suit guy talking to you about the market outlook for the state of investments in this kind of world. You ultimately make the experience more pleasurable, it's less fucking weird, and ultimately more people are willing to be able to learn. So, the ultimate thing becomes, the more communities and companies are able to see that the average Joe is their customer and consumer, the more they become motivated to give better products and access. Just like what we saw at Robinhood, just like what we see with WallStreetBets. Bad things can happen? Absolutely. But at least on our side of the house, we have a cushion, we have a capacity to be able to learn, and we have an ability to be able to call out these bad people and make people smarter, more savvy, and ultimately better. And with that, we think these communities are good, the rise is good. We are very proud to open this debate and side on stand proposition. We are very happy to propose.